the Panda, the official mascot of the Film Spark podcast, and I'm here to provide you with a little disclaimer for the following and all future videos. The opinions expressed within this video and all Film Spark podcast content are those of Ebony's the host, and or the guest present in these videos. You are welcome to disagree and discuss in the comments and on socials. However, remember to be respectful as this is a safe space for all. With that being said, I'll leave you in Ebony's hands and enjoy the video.
Hello, I'm Ebony and this is the Film Spark podcast. This week I come to you with my personal top 10 films of 1990 and will continue to do such for each year of the 90s and an overall favourite of the decade at the end. Shout out to Cody Leach here on YouTube, who's back to the 80s series inspired this idea. With that being said, spoilers ahead, and let's get this started. Coming to you at number 10 is Basket Case 2. Basket Case 2, the 1990 American comedy horror film, written and directed by Frank Henenlotter, and the sequel to the 82 film Basket Case. I watched this for the first time as part of the trilogy viewing not too many years ago, and I fell in love. If you've seen the first but not the sequels, I highly encourage to watch all three as they get weirder and wackier as you go along. The second, much like the first, tells the story of Dwayne and his deformed, surgically separated conjoined twin, brother Belial. Continuing on from the first, you join them along the ride as they're rescued and taken back to Grandma Ruth's home, where they meet similarly deformed friends and a love interest ensues between Belial and their new friend Eve. Basket Case number 2 comes at number 10 because although I absolutely adore this film, there are some absolute bangers for 1990. So let's get that list keep on going. Coming up for number 9 is Frankenhooker, another American black comedy horror film directed by, yet again, Frank Henenlotter. Can you see there's a theme? Very loosely inspired by Mary Shelley's 1818 novel Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus, I remember first watching this film and wishing I'd seen it with friends. This is very much an easygoing popcorn horror to watch with drinks and friends. It's silly, it's fun, and honestly just a mess in every sense of the word, however, in the best way possible. Telling the story of Jeffrey Franken, a medical student who sets out to recreate this decapitated fiancée by building her a new body made of Manhattan street prostitutes. Let's get on to number 8. Stabbing its way into the number 8th position is Child's Play 2. Child's Play 2 is another 1990 American slasher film and the direct sequel to Child's Play, written by Don Mancini and directed by John LaFia, one of the co-writers of the first film. It is the second installment in the Child's Play franchise and set 2 years after the first film. The plot follows Charles Lee Ray, better known as Chucky, continuing his pursuit for Andy Barclay, who was placed in foster care and transferring his soul into him after being resurrected. Child's Play 2, a film I love so much I have the poster hanging in my office. Which probably has you thinking, but Ebony, if you love it so much, why is it so low on your list? And honestly, as much as I love this film, it's not my favourite in the series. And you'll see some absolute more bangers to come. Child's Play 2 has the same campy fun from the first with the characters we know and love and is by no means a flop in the series. However, a fantastic sequel to keep the name on going. On to number 7. Sliding into number 7 is Back to the Future Part 3. Back to the Future Part 3 is an American science fiction western film and in the final installment of the Back to the Future trilogy. The film was directed by Robert Zemeckis and stars Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, Mary Steenburgen, Thomas F. Wilson, and Leah Thompson. The film continues immediately following Back to the Future Part 2 from 1989, which, while stranded in 1955 during his time travel adventures, Marty McFly discovers that his friend Dr. Emmett Doc Brown, trapped in 1885, was killed by Buford Mad Dog Tannen, Biff's great-grandfather. Marty travels to 1885 rather, to rescue Doc and return once again to 1985. But matters are complicated when Doc falls in love with Clara Clayton. Back to the Future, one of the best trilogies ever made in my opinion, and each film certainly has its place. Number 3 was actually my favourite in the series for a long time growing up, as I actually saw it prior to number 2. Although my opinion on the series order has changed over the years, number 3 is still a fantastic entry, and the series as a whole is a great watch. Coming in at number 6 is the It original TV miniseries. It, also known as Stephen King's It, is a 1990 ABC 2-part psychological horror drama miniseries directed by Tommy Lee Willis and adapted by Lawrence D. Cohen from Stephen King's 1986 novel of the same name. The story revolves around a predatory monster that can transform itself into its prey's worst fears to devour them, allowing it to exploit the phobias of its victims. It mostly takes the humanoid form of Pennywise, a darkly comedic clown. The protagonists are the Lucky Seven or the Losers Club, a group of outcast kids who discover Pennywise and vow to kill him by any means necessary. The series takes place over 2 different time periods. The first when the losers first confront Pennywise as children in 1960, and the second when they return as adults in 1990 to defeat him as a second time after he resurfaces. It, my first intro into the marvellous world of Tim Curry. A classic in every sense of the word and one of the first horrors I ever saw, and still effective to this day if you really hate clowns. Very well casted and as true to the book as you could get for 1990. If you haven't read the book, I do highly recommend. However, I'd suggest to look into it prior, as there are many themes explored that aren't in the book that could be triggering to some. Halfway, baby. At number 5, we have Pretty Woman. Pretty Woman is an American romantic comedy film directed by Gary Marshall from a screenplay by J.F. Lawton. The film stars Julia Roberts and Richard Gere and features Hector Elizondo, Ralph Bellamy in his final performance, may he rest in peace, Laura San Giacomo, I definitely destroyed that, and the one and only Jason Alexander in supporting roles. The film story centers on a Hollywood prostitute, Vivian Ward, and wealthy businessman, Edward Lewis. Vivian is hired to be Edward's escort for several business and social functions, and their relationship develops during her week-long stay with him. The film's title, Pretty Woman, is based on the 1964 song Oh Pretty Woman by Roy Orbison. The original screenplay was titled 3000 and was written by then struggling screenwriter J.F. Lawton. It is the first film on-screen collaboration between Gere and Roberts, their second film being Runaway Bride, which was released in 1999. What a banger film. Is it a story we've seen and heard before though? Yes. It's essentially a modern take on Cinderella, however that doesn't deter away from how good of a film this is. The chemistry between Gere and Roberts is just magical, and you can really see why they had multiple on-screen romances after this film. Fantastic writing, and really pulls at the heartstrings, will always be a fave in the rom-com genre of mine. Annie once more at number 4, it's Misery. Misery is an American psychological thriller film directed by Rob Reiner, based on Stephen King's 1987 novel of the same name, starring James Caan, Kathy Bates, Lauren Bacall, Richard Farnsworth, and Frances Sternhagen. The plot centers around an obsessive fan who holds an author captive and forces him to rewrite the finale of his book series. Much like it opened the doors to Tim Curry's career for me, Misery opened the doors to Kathy Bates, and a fantastic film adaptation of the Stephen King book. So much so, it's in Stephen King's top 5 adaptations list. An intense ride from the get-go that really sucks you in as a viewer. You feel everything James Caan goes through in this film, especially after that scene. If you know, you know. And that's what makes Misery so great. It really just draws you in. It's fantastic cast, fantastic photography, or filmography rather, scenography, everything with ography. It's just a really fun, not fun. Why did I say fun? It's a really great, suspenseful film. Top 3, baby, and at number 3 is the one and only John Waters classic, Cry Baby. Cry Baby is an American teen musical romantic comedy film written and directed by the one and only John Waters. The film stars Johnny Depp as a 1950s teen rebel crybaby, Wade Walker, and also features a large or huge ensemble cast that includes Emmy Lacane, Polly Bergen, Susan Tyrrell, Iggy Pop, Ricky Lake, and Tracy Lords, with appearances by Troy Donahue, Mink Stoll, Joe D'Alessandro, Joey Heatherton, David Nelson, Willem Dafoe, and Patricia Hearst. This film is everything John Waters, okay? It's wacky, it's entertaining, it doesn't make sense in some spots, but it's just, this film got me into John Waters. I saw this before I saw Pink Flamingos, and I absolutely fell in love. It has the one and only Johnny Depp, who I adore. You know, I first saw him in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and then the film I saw after that was this. Before Edward Scissorhands, before all the other ones starring him. This was the film I saw next, and I just absolutely fell in love. This movie just opened a whole variety of films to me that wouldn't be on my radar otherwise. If you haven't seen this, or if you haven't seen any John Waters films, even Hairspray, like, just go watch one. Do yourself a favor, fall in love, or fall in love all over again if it's been a while. But number 3 will always forever be Cry Baby from 1990. Terrific number 2 is Kiki's Delivery Service. Kiki's Delivery Service is a 1989 Japanese animated fantasy film, written, produced, and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, adapted from the 1985 novel Kiki's Delivery Service by Eiko Kodono. It stars the voices of Minami Takayama, Rei Sukama, and Kappa Yamaguchi. The story follows Kiki, or Takayama, a young witch who moves to a new town and uses her flying ability to earn a living. According to Miyazaki, the movie portrays the gulf between independence and reliance in teenage Japanese girls. If you're not familiar with the works of Miyazaki or Ghibli, then Kiki's Delivery Service is definitely a good introduction into the world. The fantastic storytelling paired with the amazing animation is a pleasure for all, and a story you will find yourself revisiting at any age. ladies and germs, here we are, the one and the only final entry to the list from 1990. And it's Goodfellas! Whoop whoop! Goodfellas is a 1990 American biographical crime film directed by Martin Scorsese and written by Nicholas Pileggi and Scorsese, and produced by Owen Winkler. It is a film adaptation of the 1985 non-fiction book Wise Guy by Pileggi, starring Robert De Niro, Ray Liotta, Joe Pesci, Lorraine Bracco, and Paul Sorvino. The film narrates the rise and fall of mob associate Henry Hill and his friends and family from 1955 through to 1980. Goodfellas, my first entry into the world of mobsters and media. A fantastic classic that holds the test of time. There is not a single thing to fault this film. Casted great, superbly written, fantastically filmed, and it's for all these reasons that I put Goodfellas in my number one spot for 1990. Well, that's it. We've come to the end of 1990. I hope you enjoyed this fun little list and stick around for the rest of the 90s in the future episodes. Thank you for watching. My name is Ebony, and this is the Film Spark Podcast.